I get it when you're standing in the electronics aisle or scrolling late at night. The idea of swapping a bulky tower for something that actually fits on a bookshelf can feel like a gamble. You've probably heard about those mini PCs that promise desktop-level power in a box you can hide behind a monitor, but you also know there are stories of cramped ports, heat issues, and the dreaded, it's not really a PC, it's a glorified stick. Before you drop a few $100s, let's walk through the GEEKOM GT13 Max and see if it truly earns a spot on your desk or if you're better off sticking with a laptop or a traditional tower. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the GT13 Max is built around Intel's latest Core Ultra 9185H, paired with DDR5 memory and a 1TB NVMe SSD. That combo sounds impressive on paper, but what does it actually mean for day-to-day tasks? For me, the real test was a mix of coding, light 3D rendering, and occasional 8K video editing. The CPU handled multiple IDEs, a local Docker environment, and a couple of browser tabs without the usual stutter you sometimes get on lower-end mini PCs. Compiling a medium-sized C++ project dropped from a minute on my old Nuke to about 38 seconds. When I tossed a 10-minute 8K clip into DaVinci Resolve, the timeline was smooth enough to make basic cuts, though a full export still leaned on the integrated Intel Arc graphics, taking roughly 1.5 the time a mid-range desktop GPU would. What sets this model apart in the mini PC world is the port selection. We're looking at dual USB 4, so you can daisy-chain a monitor and an external SSD at full 40 gigabits per second, dual HDMI 2.1, perfect for a dual monitor setup or a single 8K display, a 2.5 gigabits Ethernet port, and Wi-Fi 7 for future-proof wireless speeds. Most competing mini PCs either skimp on USB 4 or force you to use a dongle for HDMI 2.1. So if you already have a 4K 60Hz monitor and want the option to upgrade to 8K later, the GT13 Max gives you that flexibility without extra adapters. Now, let's talk about the real-world constraints that often get glossed over. The chassis is a compact aluminum box about the size of a thick hardcover book. That means a tidy desk footprint no more than a few inches of depth, but it also limits internal airflow. GEEKOM uses a proprietary IceBL cooling system with a single low-profile fan. In my testing, the fan stayed quiet, around 30 dBA, while browsing or coding, but under sustained 8K rendering the noise rose to a low hum you can hear if you're sitting close. The temperature peaked in the low 80°C range, which is warm but within Intel's safety margins. If you're planning to push the machine for marathon gaming sessions, you might notice thermal throttling after an hour, something a larger tower with more robust cooling would handle better. Upgradability is another practical point. The GT13 Max gives you access to the two SODIMM slots, so you can boost RAM from the stock 16 GB to 32 GB without opening the whole unit, just remove the bottom panel. The SSD is a standard M.2 2280 slot, and because the case is designed for toolless access, swapping a drive takes about 5 minutes. That's a nice middle ground between the sealed laptops that need a screwdriver and the open-frame mini PCs that feel more like a hobby project. However, you can't add a dedicated GPU, so if your workflow evolves into heavy 3D modeling or high-end gaming, you'll quickly run into the limits of the integrated Arc graphics. Who should consider this machine? If you're a developer, a digital creator who does light video work, or a remote worker who needs a powerful, space-saving workstation, the GT13 Max hits a sweet spot. Its Windows 11 Pro build means you get enterprise-grade security features out of the box, and the built-in NPU gives a modest boost for AI-centric apps like Photoshop's generative fill or coding assistants that run locally. The dual HDMI ports also make it a solid choice for a home office with a primary monitor and a secondary display for reference material. On the flip side, if you're a serious gamer, a 3D artist who relies on CUDA cores, or someone who wants a machine that can run multiple 4K streams while gaming, you'll probably feel the constraints. The lack of a discrete GPU and the modest cooling capacity mean you'll hit performance ceilings sooner than you would with a mid-tower. Likewise, if you need a lot of internal storage, say, multiple terabytes for raw video footage, you'll have to invest in external SSDs or a larger M.2 drive, which adds cost and reduces the all-in-one appeal. One subtle strength that isn't often highlighted is the network setup. The 2.5 gigabits Ethernet port paired with Wi-Fi 7 means you can future-proof your broadband without needing a separate adapter. In a home where the router already supports Wi-Fi 7, you'll see real-world speed gains when transferring large files across the local network, something a typical 1 gigabit Ethernet mini PC can't match. For freelancers, sending 8K video,